What is up, Slap Fight fans? I am Jason Burgos of MixedMartialArts.com, and I have the absolute pleasure to be joined by a true elite of the industry. He's a pioneer of the highest levels of slap fighting and is the current light heavyweight champion of SlapFIGHT Championship. On November 12th on Fight Pay-Per-View, he will headline in a champ versus champ battle against middleweight king Coach Killer, and that man I speak of is the one, the only. It's Wolverine, Mr. Wolverine, sir. Thank you so much for the time today.
Yes, sir.
So, what fascinates me about you and several of the fighters on the roster is you have like a legitimate combat sports background. And I'm not sure if many fans of SlapFIGHT Championship really realize that, and that like your natural abilities in this sport, it comes from somewhere. Talk to me about like your combat sports background and kind of what originally made you get into MMA fighting.
I was actually signed up to boxing, and they didn't do boxing no more at the event that I was going to do. They did MMA, so I ended up doing that, and I ended up losing my first fight pretty bad, but I enjoyed it, so I got back into it, and I think I did 30 MMA fights before I finally
Wow.
went into slap fighting, and I did two K1 fights. So
Nice. Now, when you first heard about slap fighting and that JT, was seriously putting together this event, this show, he was trying to make it this real thing, this respected thing, just like MMA and boxing. Like, what were your first thoughts? Did you kind of like laugh it off like slap fighting? What the hell is that? Did you see it on YouTube and you kind of were familiar with it, or had you never heard of it, were kind of confused, but also kind of curious, and that got your interest?
JT told me about it. I was actually down there in Florida for work whenever he told me about it, and I kind of I didn't know nothing about it, and then he was telling me what was going to go on, so I ended up flying up here to try it out, and I mean, yeah, I didn't know nothing about it before I just signed up to do it, so.
And was there at all kind of like, that's not for me. I'm doing MMA fighting, or on some weird level, like it kind of, or maybe it was just you trust JT, but like there was something that just made it interesting than saying like, that's not for me.
Uh, it was interesting for me because I enjoy stand up. I mean, MMA. I do not like the ground at all. So I mean, this is all stand up, just throwing back and forth. So this was great for me.
Now you are a pioneer of this slap fight thing. Yeah, to me, you sort of like a Chuck Liddell of slap fighting, and like how important he was for like the UFC and those was really important days after the dark ages kind of stuff. Was there like a moment in those early days, in those early fights, maybe just when you were training for those early fights, where it's like you just realized like, holy shit, I'm like really really good at this? Was there a moment that kind of came?
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy. I mean, yeah. I felt like I had more experience than some of the other competitors, but I wouldn't compare myself to somebody like Chuck Liddell. I mean, that dude's awesome. So, but yeah, I guess I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, like the way, just the comments from fans on these videos and stuff like that, how they revere you and love you, and how successful you've been. It really feels like Chuck and stuff like that. But what also fascinates me about SlapFIGHT Championship, I love being a part of it. It has a kind of pro wrestling vibe in that the athletes have nicknames. They don't go by real names. Yours is arguably, like, to me, it's the best. It's my favorite one, and becoming this slap, it's becoming like a legendary thing. Like people say Wolverine, like, oh, they know, it's a big deal. How did the name Wolverine come about? Like, and are you at all a comic nerd like me? You like Wolverine, the Marvel Comics character? Did that play at all into deciding on this name?
Oh yeah, I mean, I like Wolverine, the comic version. Hell, I've used Wolverine for probably all my MMA career, pretty much. So I mean, I just liked the fact that I guess it just hit hard and just heal up quick and keep going.
I spoke with Bayou Bastard recently, and his training for bouts. It's fairly basic because he's a very new competitor in this sport, and I'm sure you guys are giving him tips and he's learning. But as like an elite talent in slap fighting, I'm curious what's like your training consist of that keeps you sharp, that keeps you ready for these massive fights in the industry. Like what's like how do you go about preparing for these big fights? How do you get your game at its best level?
I use the stretchy bands quite a bit. I mean, I got rope tied, drive a truck, so I got rope tied in on the inside, and I try to sit there and pull on the side of the truck as hard as I can. So, I mean, trying to pretty much pull the truck over with slapping. So I just keep on working my right arm out and just test it harder and harder, I guess, each time.
So for you, it seems like it's more about like strength building and stuff like that. Like, so is it more just kind of like that strength building, or are there kind of things you do where it's like, because what's impressive, especially with the Darius fight, and you did like this different kind of technique, is your accuracy is fantastic. Does that also help your accuracy, or do you do specific things for accuracy for your slaps?
I do. I mean, I got a mid and everything else, and I wait and I find out who the opponent is, and I set that mid up at a certain, whatever their height is. So that way I'm constantly slapping at the same height. And that way, I don't make sure I don't miss. I do not want, obviously nobody wants to foul and lose a turn. So, I mean, that's my main goal, is to just make sure it's a clean hit. I don't want to be accused of giving a bad hit, so.
Talk to me about your opponent at this upcoming pay-per-view, Redemption, Coach Killer. He's improved a lot since that first fight with you, and it was a highlight reel knockout for you and stuff like that. What do you think of his growth as a slap fighter since losing to you? And in your mind, has he become like a top 5 guy in the industry, like a legitimate guy? And this is a test that's right up there on a level with Darius.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he ended up going like 8 or 9 rounds with me, and that was his first time ever doing it. And then after that, I mean, he went on like a 4 or 5 knockout, win streak. I mean, he's definitely improving. He's, working on everything. I mean, and then I know he came off that loss, so we're both trying to get back on the win column, and I know he challenged me for it. And so I'm going to cut down to where he's at. And I mean, it'll be a good match, I think.
Now, you have an expert eye for this. What do you feel like, because people like me can't see it on the level that you guys see it, but in what ways do you feel he's gotten better? Like, has it just there more power in his strikes? Maybe less weight, being at middleweight, has helped him? Is there like a more of a speed on, like, from what you see, in what ways, like, do you think he's gotten better from before?
I think his accuracy's gotten a lot better. I mean, because he got me a couple times, and in the neck area. So I mean, his accuracy's gotten a lot better. His power's gotten a lot better. His technique. I mean, he's twisting his hips more each slap, and he's following through. And I mean, his accuracy's just a lot better. I mean, he's hitting people square in the cheek and knocking people out. So I mean, yeah, his power's improving. His accuracy, his technique, everything.
You made some interesting adjustments to your slapping technique for the Darius fight. Talk to me about why you did that, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about that. Will it return for the fight with Coach Killer? Will you maybe do something different, or are we going to go back to maybe a more traditional style that worked well against him the first time you guys went?
I did that specifically just for the Darius fight. I mean, if people watch closely, I mean, there's a few flinches he does in our first matchup, and a few I noticed in other matchups. So I just wanted to throw the timing off for Darius to try to catch him off guard. So, but I'm gonna go back to the traditional one for this match, I believe, because it worked out a lot better, I think, for me. So.
Of course, with the sport being so new, it isn't one where like the athletes can do this full time and make a living off of it full time yet. It's heading towards that direction.
No.
So what do you do for work when you're not at the barrel? And also, what are your personal interests? What are the things that please you in your life aside from slapping the shit out of people in SlapFIGHT Championship?
I drive a truck for a living,
right.
And then. Yeah, spending time with the kids and the family, and playing video games. So
Oh, so what
play a lot of
what's your favorite? What genre of video game? What's your favorite video
Call of
games?
Duty. Bro.
Ah, of course, everybody's favorite game.
Just the competition. I mean, that's all.
Yeah.